Alright friends, welcome back to Tactical Enlightenment. You're watching another episode of our Expert Tactics series, showing some of the most difficult battles I've faced in my campaign, and then deploying complicated and unique tactics to overcome these formidable challenges. Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. This YouTube channel is dedicated to helping you get better at Bannerlord through tactics and field command. And we have yet again another looming gigantic battle. I'm very late in an extremely late game campaign, and I can't even tell how many armies are attacking here. And if you're confused why there's more than one army attacking, that's because I'm at war with the whole map. Anybody who's not familiar with my campaign, a 30-second campaign update, about 6 months ago, real life time, I decided I was just going to fight the whole map with my 6-7 cities and castles, and the enemy has been slowly sort of eating up our territory and castles, and we are now down to 2 cities and 3 castles. So the enemy now sometimes frequently attacks a target with more than one enemy army. In this case, there's clearly at least 2 or 3 different enemy armies attacking here. So I'm down to the 2 cities. I just defended Takor Castle. The previous epic, gigantic battle at Epicrotia, we were able to reinforce it, give a lot of food to the peasants, right, so they don't riot, vote for the other candidate, right? We got to maintain some law and order there. That's our capital. And you can see I have a very strong army here, although I am down to some bandits in the army. I have some kind of lower tiered, at least for what we're used to, some sea raiders and whatnot. So we're going to recruit all the troops here and see what we're up against here. And nobody's surprised at this stage. 8,000 fucks trying to take us out. Look how many lords there are. There's fucking 10 panels, 10 pages of lords. And it's important to remember, too, that we have 3,000 troops, but that includes a weak garrison with a bunch of peasants and brigands and low-level archers and the militia. So this is an even harder battle than it looks like on the surface. And reduced player damage here again. A lot of times I'm doing that in these just titanic battles because otherwise you're simply not able to stay upright. You're not going to enjoy watching the AI just blunder about. So this map, I have fought on this map 2 or 3 times. You can see the enemies way off there in the distance. The advantage of this map, the positioning here, is we're going to be able to pull off a peekaboo ridge tactic. I've forgotten the military term for it. It became more of a tactic in recent military where artillery and guns became more common. But effectively what you're doing is you're requiring the enemy to approach over a ridge to your location. And the advantage of that, of course, is that as they come over, before they can even knock an arrow or get their crossbow ready or shoot their muskets like in real life war, they are immolated by 1,000 arrows from your troops. So we're outnumbered, like 3 to 1 here. We're going to have a huge kill ratio to have any chance of winning this battle. So I've got the 2nd Cav right there in a square. That's going to be sort of a distractionary defensive force. This is the 3rd Cav over here. We're going to use them in a line because this little ridge here is sort of open. I want the enemy to be somewhat channeled into just a handful of areas so that we can fire concentrated firepower on them. Yeah, look how many of these fucks there are. Those not familiar with the channel, we do a little bit of swearing. We're not going to be nothing offensive. There won't be any racist remarks or anything like that. But war is hell, and we'll have a little bit of swearing from time to time for emphasis. So this is my 8th Corps. I'm just going to show them real quick here. These badasses going into battle. These are all level, 30 and 40 companion and family members of mine. This is going to be one of the keys to the early stages of this battle. These guys are elite. We're going to use them in concentrated firepower to really try to put the stomping on these enemies. We've got a lot of heavy horse here. We're on hold fire here because we don't want to waste ammunition until they're over the ridge. But once they do come over that ridge, we're going to unleash hell. Right, the Russell Crowe quote from Gladiator. At my command, unleash hell. So this 100 and something Battanian Fian champions, right, that's in our elite mix here, is going to open fire and just absolutely start obliterating everything in sight. That open fire also means our 8th Corps, a lot of those guys have, we're going to be beheading some fucks in this episode too. They're going to be, shooting their high-level crossbow and whatnot, but we're going to need every ounce of it, right? Every bit of our troop firepower. We're up against almost all elite troops as well. It's not like the enemy has weak troops, elite cataphract, banner knights, etc. They have Britannian Fiend champs. Right, this is going to be a brutal slugfest. So right now I'm just maintaining distance. I don't want guys charging up in there. My cav line on the right and left, the cav square on the right and the line on the left are both holding out beautifully. And we're just going to be sort of attacking the most obvious imminent threat here. A big advantage of this strategy is the enemy probably won't be able to get their archers, their crossbows, to the top of this ridge for much of this initial stage, right? This is basically us allowing to concentrate our fire to fight the enemy in detail, as the military saying goes, and it gives us some chance to win this just incredibly difficult battle. And I've got Manablions just wailing away at me. I'm seeing a lot of death spam. This is not a good sign early in this battle. But I don't see their archers getting over that ridge. Alright, now these guys, this infantry is in here. We're attacking with the 6th, 8th, and 1st Corps. The 1st Corps is not really a corps. That's just one guy. You know, at this stage, a lot of our units don't have a lot of troops, and if this enemy line of infantry gets any closer, we'll attack with our archers as well. If the enemy gets their infantry close to your archers, you're actually better off either kiting, moving them back, or in this case, since a lot of them are Britannian Fiend champs, look at all these guys, they're better off charging. This fucking noble. Die, motherfucker. I'm gonna take this guy out. I prioritize nobles, right? You must kill nobles if at all possible. Down he goes. And the enemy's already reforming, and this is beautiful. So we're going to track down and run these guys over. When the enemy's reforming like this, a lot of times they're pretty vulnerable. You got to watch for these guys, their support, right? These are their reinforcements, so I just took a shot. You got to watch out for their reinforcements, right? Because their reinforcements will shoot at you. But these guys here, most of these guys are helpless. They are trying to get back, regroup, and as they do so, if you can, muster troops to attack them and slice as many of them down as possible. Of course, that was a tactic throughout most modern warfare, or medieval warfare for that matter. In fact, by the 17th, 18th century, cavalry was not really used in the offensive manner that is used in Bannerlord. Resetting our troops here. Cavalry was used like in the Napoleonic era to basically run down the enemy when they're either changing formations, or more commonly after a battle was decisive, they would come in and mow down guys with their sabers, right? These guys, these cavalry, they weren't usually wearing, or they weren't wielding spears anymore, right? It was more sabers, and they would come in and just saber run down retreating infantry, right? A lot of times, of course, this would cause the enemy to give up, and that was a big part of casualties in war. Alright, so we're on hold fire again here. We're basically going to reset and hold this same position here. It looks like they're sending some cav against us. I'm going to mow these fucks down, but I don't want to waste 80 arrows on one guy. That's just sort of skirmishing with us here. I need to save the ammunition. Britannian Fiend champs and other elite archers typically have two quivers of arrows, right? Your master, Aserai master archer, I think, does. Probably the Khazate marksman does as well. But you still don't want to be wasting ammunition for, as I waste my javelins. You still don't want to be wasting your ammunition when you can just cut guys down with your spear. Alright, so the enemy has a huge force here, and it's likely they're going to approach over the ridge, but look at the unit numbers. It's a really strange number. They have 520 archers and 37 infantry. And you see them, they're slowly creeping up over the ridge here. Okay, so this is a problem. They're coming over the left flank. I need to act decisively and quickly. So I'm bringing troops over, bringing the Cav and the 8th Corps over on this right flank, and we're going to open fire. Of course, the Britannian Fiend champs will be able to shoot these guys, but you see what they're trying to do. They're effectively trying to outflank us. They're trying to gain, they're trying to spread out here on the right, so we're going to aggressively, almost like desperately attack these guys, right? So I've sent the 8th Corps over. They're actually leaving their infantry behind. So now the 8th Corps is sent right into the face of the enemy. And this is what I was mentioning before. The 8th Corps in my army is very high-level troops. A lot of them are mounted. A lot of the mounted guys have not only really strong weapon skills, but 300 riding skills. So they're doing damage. They're just like me. They're decking guys to the ground with their horse. And I also have the 2nd horse archer, or the second cav in there as well. Now you see the immolating fire the enemy's facing with the arrows too. Between those two forces, it's just a screen of green, and the enemy's already decided, fuck that strategy, we're out of here. This is still a huge force of the enemy here, so I'm not real excited about charging over. I'm kind of coming through here haphazardly. You'll see me kind of make hit and run attacks in a battle like this, but I have to play defensive here. So we're going to bring these troops back, the 4th and 5th Archer Corps. I don't have many other support troops. God, I got to be careful falling off these hills. Obviously, if I get knocked unconscious early on in this battle, this is not even a recording that I'm going to show to somebody. This is just going to be me mumbling in my study for an hour while my wife wonders, you know, why she chose such a dipshit for a husband. So the enemy, at this stage, they're a little confused. They're not quite sure what to do. I don't blame them after these couple of assaults they've faced. We're going to make them come to us, though. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. If you remember, we attacked them. Even though they're besieging our castle, we attacked them, and so they don't have to attack us. That may be a problem at some point in this battle if the enemy gets defensive, if they take 2 or 3 ass whippings and decide, you know, the AI decides, let's not get our asses whipped anymore. That might be a problem, but it does seem like they want another round of pain here. They've got an infantry press at the front there, so what I'm doing is I'm moving my 8th Corps to the left flank here. A lot of these guys have 250 plus throwing. If you don't know, that means they can throw their javelins right through these fucking shields. Just like me, we can immolate their fucking shield-bearing troops. And then, of course, the rest of the guys get filled with arrows. Just shot in the back. Okay, they're reforming already again. It's time to move up our troops aggressively here. Look how many archers there are. Now, you gotta be careful doing this, right? Because if they all of a sudden turn and start shooting on us, it's a major problem, right? So you have to be very nimble in this kind of a tactical maneuver. Fortunately, the AI doesn't have a huge amount of variability. When they reform, most of the time, you'll see them reform all the way back to the reinforcements. So I'm gonna position archers up on these hills here, and hopefully that range advantage combined with the fact that we have, you know, Battanian Fiend Champs and better archers gives us at least some chance to win a ranged battle here. I'm stretching the 4th Corps out kind of on the side here so that some of my archers are protected, and these guys will also be able to concentrate fire on anybody attacking us from the flank or from that left side over there. This is why you hold fire earlier, right? So that now you can engage in a ranged battle, and most of these guys probably have 20 or 30 arrows left. People are just annihilated. Their horse archers are just destroyed. So I'm actually going to drag the 4th archers up onto this hill here because all these arrows can be picked up. Right? They just shot these arrows, these knuckleheads, fired 100 arrows at 6 horse archers. They can actually pick those arrows up. Meanwhile, I'm watching to see what the enemy does. I want to see if they're going to attack or if they're just going to skirmish with us. I don't mind either, actually. I'm perfectly fine just skirmishing here. If they want to send 30 heavy horse against us, no problem. Guys in here I've got on attack, right? You could F1, F3 when archers are being attacked by cav. That's better than them being on like spread or fall back or something like that. You want them aggressively attacking these fucks in your shield. Now that you're dead, you don't need it. Also from this spot, as you can tell, I have an outstanding vantage point on the whole battlefield, right? I can see what's going on very well. I've got those Fiend Champs over there. We're taking some losses, but overall definitely dealing more damage than we're taking. Right, I have better archers at this stage. They don't have many Battanian Fiend Champs. They have level tier archers, but ours are simply better. I need your horse. Alright, it's still a huge force. I need reinforcements at this stage before I can do anything really dynamic with this army. I have the 8th Corps and I have 2 Corps of Battanian Fiend Champs, but that's just not really sufficient enough to do anything super aggressive. I might be able to flush the enemy from one side. Let's see what they do here. I'm going to drag my 8th Corps. I may... sometimes I'll pull maneuvers like this and cancel them almost as soon as I try them. I'm basically trying to scramble their units by coming in aggressively. They're falling back. I'm not going to be able to... Maybe I might be able to get some flanking fire on these guys, but they're already reforming. I've got to be very careful with my health. Even though I'm on reduced player damage, of course, I'll still eventually be in probably a 45-minute battle. I love heads are just flying everywhere. Sturgia. That was a noble. More than likely, that noble just died. If you don't know the mod I'm running, it's in the details in the YouTube section. You can learn more about that mod. All the mods are listed there. But this is a dismemberment mod where people can get beheaded and stuff like that. And if a noble gets beheaded, they're dead. That's a sign that they were killed in battle. The horse archers are trying to fuck these guys up. Let's cut some more heads off. The game obviously has a very accurate damage model, right? Like if you hit a guy in the pole arm, right at the neck area, you either hit him in the neck or the head, right? They get beheaded. So I'm just holding this ridge here. Oh, they got a bunch of cav in our backfield here. We're going to counter immediately and attack this cav. I always attack the most present threat. I'm watching the rest of their troops to see if they come over that ridge, but as long as they don't, we're going to concentrate firepower right here on these fucks. I have the 4th Archer Corps over on the right flank, and that's so that those guys can sort of shoot down a little bit on the enemy, but I have to watch how vulnerable they are there as well. I gotta be careful flying in like this. I gotta keep these guys back. So as long as we're over this ridge, right, you can see that very slight ridge there, their archers can't shoot at us, and if they come over the ridge, they get shot, right? This is basically the other side of the Peekaboo Ridge. I mean, we're still outnumbered like 3 to 1. If the enemy flat out charged us, we would probably be annihilated. But, you know, if we keep moving our troops around, I think we have at least a chance to sort of gain the tactical edge on these troops. This is a bit of finesse, right? We're sort of moving troops in, moving troops out, attacking when the opportunity is right. But I've got these guys elevated. Hopefully they can shoot down and get some kills. I see some green spam, but I also see them get killed too. They just have so many more archers than us. Even if I behead a few, they just have way more troops than us. Look how long their line stretches. Starting to take a lot of damage here. I got this little tiny pathetic shield I'll be trying to upgrade at some point. So I need reinforcements really at this stage to do anything more dynamic. I'm going to start pulling our troops back. Your reinforcements generally come where you start the battle, so our reinforcements will come back somewhere back in there. And I just don't feel like I can continue to sit on this ridge and gain any kind of tactical advantage. I apologize for my voice right now. If it sounds strange or bad or whatever, less pleasant to listen to, that's because I picked up a cold on vacation. Might even been COVID, all the classic symptoms. But you fine folks are clamoring for more content, right? So we push through a little bit of ibuprofen, and on we go, right? Just like the game here. It doesn't matter how hard the challenge is going to get. 8,000 troops, 7,000, fuck them. We attack them all. Look at this guy. What the fuck? Speaking of on vacation, maybe he's got a death wish. I don't know if he's stuck or what, but definitely he has no business being there. He's going to get killed. I got like 130 troops. So the reinforcement process in the game is suboptimal, as you see their troops pushing up. That was the reason I pulled back, right? We're going to try to do some Peekaboo Ridge tactics here. Also, I want my troops pulled back because when I get reinforcements, I want them to be ready and to go in battle right away. If you're way up on the enemy, attacking sort of where on their side of the map, so to speak, your reinforcements won't be a factor in the fight for the first 30 seconds or so. So what I'm trying to do is use this little ridge here in the same way that we've been using ridges in this whole battle. This is probably one of the best maps for using this sort of tactical maneuver here. What we're effectively trying to do, these guys are in my way here. What I'm effectively trying to do is mitigate the fact that the enemy has 3 or 4 times as many troops than us. And that guy over there got killed by the tree. dude on vacation. He's got a permanent vacation now. What I want is the enemy, though, in this case, to come over the ridge with that huge force of theirs. Look at how many arrows they're shooting. At which point we can hopefully concentrate our attack, right? They're not typically good enough to make a flanking attack on us. If we can concentrate our attack, our superior units here, between the 8th Corps and all these Tier 6 Battanian Fiend champs, a lot of whom are out of arrows, you know, we should at least have some chance at an even fight. But I need reinforcement at this stage. The most thing I need is I need heavy infantry. I don't have any heavy infantry, and I have effectively a bunch of archers that are out of ammunition. I've got an 8th Corps, a handful of these guys might have arrows left, but I'm in a very difficult spot here, and I need the enemy to attack. If the enemy doesn't attack here, you know, I've got very limited options. You've got a handful of horse archers sort of skirmishing with us.
Archers! Loose formation! Loose formation!
500. Yeah, they've got 500 troops, and they're being hesitant to attack our 150. We don't even have 150. It's more like 130. So they're starting to spread out. That's bad for us. If the enemy starts to flank us here, we're in trouble. One thing we can do, though, is we can sort of concentrate our forces. I can make our forces into like a tight little ball here, taking advantage of the cover here, almost like D-Day. You know, getting 10 troops all behind like a concrete, you know, you know, pillar or something like that. Everybody trying to gain a safe spot here, right? So we don't get raked with 300 archer fire. Nah, they're just being hesitant to attack. I mean, it's smart, but at the same time, of course, it's frustrating for me trying to provide action for the viewer. Generally, in very, I guess I would call it low stakes battle, I would simply charge here, right? We would do flanking attacks, archers on both sides, 8th Corps in the center, and we would attack. But in this case, because of the extreme difficulty of this battle, I might have a chance here. These guys are sort of getting aggressive. In this situation, I feel compelled to wait. If I make a mistake here, this battle is probably going to be over fast. With how many troops they have, if they start gaining momentum, we are fucked. They've got a nice shield wall there. Just marching on down. It feels impossible. I'm going to drag the 8th Corps to the side here, and we're just going to fly into battle here. Sometimes you have to, in very long battles like this, you have to accept the fact that you're going to lose most of your units. We are just charging in aggressive. I've got the Archer Division heading to their right flank, our left flank, and we're basically just going to try to sweep through here and kill as many as we can before our units are annihilated. Right now it's good because they're reforming, which is a very bad strategy, but we'll take advantage of it. And we're outnumbered 3 or 4 to 1. Oh, beautiful. Reinforcements just arrived. Let's get these boys up here. I've got heavy cav, I've got an archer division, and horse archers. In we go. So they're reforming. It's just massacre city, right? I'm just going to have my heavy horse archers, or heavy horse, just following me. Now we have this onslaught of their reinforcements, right? So they're going to get help right away. But I've got heavy horse just riding down their troops. I've got to be careful how long I keep our troops over on this side, right? Of course, they're going to be shooting the shit out of us very soon. In fact, I think that's enough. We'll have follow me. We'll pull everybody back over this ridge. But we have reinforcements now, and so now we have a lot bigger tactical options here. I've got almost 100 heavy horse that I can use as a shield wall. I can use them. Well, I see you, motherfucker. Don't worry, I see your ass. You get yours too. I also have horse archers and a fresh archer division. It's only 27 guys, I think. 27 guys, but that's still going to give us at least some firepower. And then, of course, we still have some of the 8th Corps healthy. God damn, there's a lot of them. We still have the 8th Corps and then this heavy cav wave. One of my favorite combinations in battles is to use units that are two-handed. You know, your shock troops. In this case, of course, a lot of them are Battanian Fiend champs. These guys, Battanian Fiend champs here, these guys are all out of arrows. So these guys now are effectively just shock troops. Somewhat lightly armored. I know they have pretty good armor, but it's not like they're wearing, like, plate. But we have this iron plate row here in front of them, right? These heavy horse. So I'm bringing these guys up, and I'm basically telling them to attack. And a singular target. My horse archers on their horse archers. But I want to leave this wall of steel facing the enemy. Unless these guys get committed too far, I will use my heavy horse to crimp down and kill a lot of these fucks. Take off a few more heads. God, I've beheaded a lot of people already in this episode. Yeah. So here we can attack with them. Cut off their retreat, mow their guys down. Screen is full of green. That's how we like it. Punish these horse archers for being insolent. So I've got these 2 division of Britannian Fiend. It's basically almost all Britannian Fiend champs. The 4th and 5th Corps, and this 8th. This powerful wall of, most of them are probably noble units, and other very high level heavy horse. We're going to be able to now actually, that guy got destroyed by arrows. We're going to now actually be able to pull off some tactics. So what you can do, of course, is you can protect your Britannian Fiend champs or your shock troops or whatever else you have with this huge wall of steel and just do devastating damage to the enemy. The way to think about it is that the units have symbiosis. See these guys up here, these cavalry attacking me? Follow me, archers, right? These archers can now come up here. It's actually referring to them as infantry, which is interesting. I can just drag these guys up here and then attack. So they're protected by these guys with armor and steel and horses and whatnot, and they're in there just fucking going crazy with their 2-handed sword. And even though they're out of arrows, they're still annihilating people, and they do so in relative safety, right? Because they have, oh shit, here comes their main, I say their main vanguard, another vanguard is what it is. We'll pull our troops back here a little bit. Another critical strategy is we're keeping their archers from being able to shoot at us, right? So I have this wall of steel here. And then behind them, some of these guys actually are still shooting arrows, but most of these guys are holding their sword. That's because they're out of arrows. That's the game telling you we don't have ammo. But I can use these guys effectively as war dogs. Yeah, they're starting to get archers crept up here. I can't allow them to get positioned, and so one thing I do, again, I can move this big wall, this 8th Corps, which is now almost entirely heavy horse. I can move them up with the supporting 4th and 5th. Yeah, and we're going to attack. They're on charge. In we go. Right? I've got the 4th and 5th following me. Beautiful. Look at it. Their archers are now face to face with our fucking foaming at the mouth champs, Fiend champs. And it's a fucking massacre. Now my cav I sent on charge, so now I'm going to have them follow me, and now they charge again. Right? It's basically me micromanaging their cycle charges. Look at the screen. It's just death, death, death for the enemy. Look at this guy. I don't think you're going to shoot anybody today there, but forgot to watch your 6. I like your shield better. Aw. We charge. Yeah, it's time to get aggressive. I know their infantry is going to be a problem, but when their archers are so face-to-face like this, and I have units with better melee skill, now this is a problem. Their cavalry is counter-charging beautifully. Most of the time the enemy does good strategy, of course. It's sort of accidental. Blind squirrel, nut, or a broken watch, just right twice a day, right kind of thing. But that was a very timely cav charge by them. That really prevented, but would have been an utter massacre for the enemy there. It was still a devastating counterattack, though. Really want a horse. I'm just surrounded by the enemy here. Here, horse. My units are starting to get dwindled down, of course. Right, but again, this is our original 4th and 5th Corps. I mean, the enemy has lost at least 1,500 troops, and we still have 30 or 40 of the 4th and 5th Corps. Some of the 8th Corps is probably still up too. Some of my elite family members, a lot of them have 300 plus athletics, which means they have a lot of hit points, right? These guys, of course, have amazing armor. I'm basically rich at this stage of the campaign. I can buy any armor I want, and of course, a lot of them have elite loot from drops. Okay, their infantry's out front without archer support. That's just begging to be massacred. If you're starting to get it, anytime they have a unit separated like that, what we're going to do is we're going to truck them with our 8th Corps, this heavy cav, and then we're going to come in behind with our archers and just mow the fuck out of everything in sight. Even powerful infantry like this really has no chance if you execute the tactic correctly. It's almost like they read my mind there, though. Like they realized they were isolated and fucked, and they backed out. That was actually smart. Those guys were dead if they didn't do that, because we were going to be able to flank on multiple sides, Britannian Fiend Champs, shock troops, and obliterate them. And that'll be a strategy we're going to use until these units are dead. Most of these guys, of course, are very low health. They've probably all been shot a few times, stabbed. They're still wailing away, though. And look how powerful this defense force is. I just have this 80 heavy cav. We're going to keep this in place as long as this tactic works and these men are still on their feet. Might even be worth sweeping in just wildly aggressively. The thing to remember in a big battle like this is that you're going to lose units. You might as well kill a lot of the enemy when you lose those units. We're going to bring them up here and just kamikaze effectively. This is such a powerful unit, this 8th Corps with this heavy cav. I can just set them in here. I can hold them either as a shield wall, as a defensive line, and then bring the Britannian Fiend Champs up, or I can use them to cycle charge. Right? You can see them rushing through, they're knocking guys over. Their archers can't shoot, it's causing chaos, and in come the Britannian Fiend Champs behind them. Now they have a huge amount of strong infantry here, so this is going to be a bloodbath, but it's still, this is going to be at least a battle worth pursuing. I'm going to join them on foot. I do more damage on foot. You can see the screen is almost all green, even though we're outnumbered, even though it's archers on their infantry, if you can call them Britannian Fiend Champ archers. They're starting to get shot to pieces. I can see guys getting shot off their horses. I've got a handful of guys left that have arrows. I just have these Britannian Fiend Champs following me, right? I don't need them getting mown down.
Stand apart!
Got a handful of guys over there still shooting. We're going to continue just to use this same group. I mean, these guys are all getting medals of something or other, you know, some kind of fucking medal. They're getting lands and fiefs and concubines and all that good stuff. These guys have been incredibly heroic at a very important time. I've got a handful of horse archers. They look like they're all cons guards. You know, people watching, you know, think somehow we're on easy mode or using cheat codes because we have a bunch of elite troops. You know, folks, if you play campaign for I think it's 5,000 days I've been playing this campaign, you will have mostly elite troops as well. Okay, their cav is storming in here. We like it. Anytime their units come in sort of piecemeal, that's beneficial. Right? We're going to concentrate our firepower here. I can kill a few of these guys. I send in the Britannian Fiend Champs. They're protected by the heavy horse. And we'll just kill all these guys. Right? This is basically poor AI. We take advantage. They have no support. I don't even see their troops coming over the ridge. They're just standing over there fucking waiting for their friends to die, I guess. Now they're starting to come up, but it's way too late. Might be able to pull off a flank attack on the enemy here. They're being very hesitant. Again, unfortunately, the nature of this battle, we're basically required to attack, even though we're outnumbered 3 or 4 to 1. Right? So we have 160 troops, and they have 600. And they're being passive. They're being careful. Now you have to remember, if I come roaring over this ridge here, we're going to face the exact same onslaught that we've been dealing out to the enemy, right? So you see me being hesitant as well. It's a bit of a stalemate, right? If this was a human opponent, you would definitely play a cat and mouse game with them for a while. I'm going to try to effectively lure the enemy into coming over this ridge, right? If I can move my troops back enough, they're already starting to move up. If they start to commit, we're going in. The key is we want them to commit. If they don't commit, right, then we're one of the ones running into a trap. So I move up my shields, right? My 8th Corps is my shield. You can think of it like just like your shield arm. And I've got Britannian Fiend Champs and the 8th Corps coming up behind. I still don't have any kind of real infantry. And again, it looks like they're backing off here. No reinforcements coming. This is all we got. I still see some 8th Corps. I still see some of my troops left. Playing a bit of a cat and mouse game here. They're right on the edge of committing. See, if I could get them to commit, we're going to have an all-out slugfest. If I charge over the ridge, though, we're fucked, right? I'll be a long ways away from my reinforcements. I'll be the one getting shot at. My archers will be worthless. All of the same things that we're trying to do to the enemy won't be of value. So we'll probe for weakness here. Let's see what they do if we flank with Cav. I might be able to drag my 3 infantry corps, so to speak, Battalion Fiend Champs. I might be able to drag them to one side and then hammer and anvil them with this 8th Corps. Right, I've got this heavy Cav. They're in shield wall. Yeah, I could have these guys follow me. And, I mean, we're trying to make a sandwich out of 10 pounds of meat here, but we're still going to try this. Holy shit, that's a lot of enemies. This is probably not going to work well, but I'm trying to spur the action here a little bit. We don't need a 3-hour battle. It's already going to be long enough. So, archers into the fray. The 4th and 5th Corps told to attack. The 8th Corps coming up behind. That's my heavy horse, and they're charging with shield wall. Look how many there are. They're trying to spread out. Of course, once these guys spread out, they're just going to fucking rain death on us. Wow, we take out as many guys as we can, man. This is one of those situations where F1, F3 is very appropriate. We're doing some damage. There's some green death spam. We're definitely paying for it, though. Oh, shit. I chose the wrong spot to get off my horse. Out of the fire and into the frying pan. Fuck. Fuck you. Kill you fucks. Got reinforcements coming down the valley. What do we got here? We got archers and infantry. Now with the enemy pursuing, I can get archers spread out here and have these infantry attack. These are all archers. These guys are fucked. We attack. I've got infantry in a shield wall being told to attack, and then I have the 8th Corps following behind them. So these guys are going to get run over, shot to pieces, and obliterated by our infantry. They can get off a few shots. That guy got a little shot on me, then he got beheaded. Yeah, you guys, that's right. You guys should have ran 20 seconds ago. Now you're going to pay the fucking price. Fuck you. Don't want these guys going too far, though, right? We don't want to go over the ridge and face the enemy fire. For some reason, their archers are charging, and they're not even, like, swinging their weapons. They're just sort of charging downhill. I don't know if the AI is confused, panicked, who knows, but these guys are dead. Might be able to... And this is very risky. Let's see, if they don't reform quick enough, I might be able to get my archers on top of this hill and shoot down on the enemy.
Shields up! Move it! Forward! Loose! Horse arch! Move! Infantry move! Cavalry! Form a shield wall!
Not gonna try. We're gonna keep safe down in this valley. I've learned from too many battles that you can make mistakes, right? Like you'll hear commentators talking about people playing chess and say, you know, that was a mistake. The same thing is true of battles, especially in battles like this that are extremely difficult. You'll learn through mistakes, right? Part of the reason I made this channel is I've played so much. I think I have a lot of wisdom just from playing, right? Just from trial and error, acting like a dipshit, trying something and say, oh shit, well, oh fuck, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And hopefully that knowledge I can pass on, I can transmute to other players without you suffering horrific losses in your own campaign. I still make mistakes, but I recognized in that situation, almost mid-sentence, that it was a bad idea. They had like 500 or 600 troops reforming on the other side of the hill there, and I thought very briefly about attacking them down that hill, and changed my mind like mid-sentence. We're going to stick to our guns here. We're going to stick to this fairly defensive process. One of the keys in a big battle like this is effectively the war of attrition in Bannerlord. The enemy has a lot of elite troops, and so do we, but through advanced tactics in the early stages of this battle, we've been able to decimate a lot of their elite troops. We still have a lot of elite troops. I still see, you know, those are all tier 4, tier 5 archers. The enemy now is starting to get down to lower quality troops. If you don't know the process in a huge battle like this, in reinforcement waves, it always gives you the highest level of troops available. Well, eventually you run out of high level troops, and then you only have medium high level troops, level 4, tier 4, and then eventually you're down to tier 3, right? And so eventually, if you can really win tactically early on, like we have, like if this was a baseball game, it would be 6-0, like in the 4th inning. We've blown them out so far in the early process of this battle, and so the advantage we get, the prize we get for our advanced tactics and success, is we get high-level troops while the enemy doesn't have as good troops. So I've got a cavalry division here in a square. This should be very familiar to you. That's because that's how we started this entire valley, this entire battle in this valley. I have infantry on the right, on our left flank, excuse me, and then I have this cav square, basically playing defense. We're trying to lure the enemy into just this type of attack. Now the infantry can attack, right? These guys can start swinging their pole arms, raping the cavalry that had charged against us here, and it's another screen of green, right? Anytime the enemy does these little individual attacks where it's like 120 cavalry against your whole force, and they have no support, kill them all. So I see their forces right over the edge of the ridge. I'm going to continue sort of to shift my troops to the left here. That's because that right flank is somewhat vulnerable because the hill is not as steep. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about, but over there, just like they tried early in this battle, they can potentially flank on that less steep side there and come to grips with us without us being able to really enact this strategy, right? You see them sort of stretching out towards their left. Now here they come. I'm going to drag this infantry corps here, and we're effectively going to try to flank the enemy. I've got that cav square there is playing defense. They're playing meat shield, distractionary force, and I'm going to drag this infantry corps, and we're effectively going to try to flank the enemy on the enemy's right, our left flank. They're getting kind of shot at by these horse archers. Fuck you. And here they come. I still have archers down in that valley, right? They're still getting lit up with arrows, and it's very difficult for the enemy to shoot at us here still, right? Because of the enemy archers coming over that ridge, they are pounded. I've got horse archers shooting with us. They're getting some shots off. I see their guys starting to shoot. That also means that their units are close together. That means we can attack. We can make a concentrated attack on their units while they're close to each other. So I'm moving up this infantry division on our left flank. I'm going to move the cav right in their face and shield wall. The archers are probably out of arrows. In fact, I see them just standing there, so we're bringing them up as well. We need every single guy here who can swing their sword to get into this attack. Sending the 4th Corps now behind the enemy. Sending the cav right into the face of the enemy, basically into the midst of the enemy. They're not offensive yet. It's this 4th Corps that I plan on doing a lot of damage with. The enemy's trying to react, but I think we can get in here before they can escape. So now I have the cav charging in, and we attack with the 4th. Fuck you. Yeah, we just annihilated their archers. I'll tear your limbs. Just a devastating turn of the flank. And I got reinforcements right behind the enemy. How beautiful is this? Now, the enemy still has a huge amount of infantry and archers here, so we're going to need these guys, but I'm going to spread these archers out right where they are, swing my fist at these guys. When you pull your shield out, a lot of times we take your bare head off there for you. These are, I think these are infantry. Yeah, these are infantry coming in. So they're charging this archer corps. Their archers basically got turned around by that flanking maneuver. Flanking maneuvers throughout military history, of course, have always been of critical importance in decisive battles. Most of the civil wars, when there was a big rout in a civil war battle, that was because one of the sides turned the flank of the other. General Lee and Stonewall Jackson, of course, were famous for fucking incredible flanking maneuvers. In Bannerlord, it's very powerful, but you need timing, and you need the right troops to be in the right place. In that instance, I had a wall of cav charging in with archers behind them, and again, it's just like having shock troops behind them earlier. They're not individually strong. The cav is not that strong on its own, and the archers are not that strong on its own, but together they're very powerful because the archers have pretty good melee skills. Even like your Asterai Master archers, they can kill people. And they're protected by that heavy horse. Meanwhile, of course, we closed in on with the fourth flank. I think that one's worth watching again. You know, of course, I'm not going to rewind it mid-battle, but that's a maneuver I would recommend you check out. And if you're not doing stuff like that in your own battles, holy fuck, this is a lot of enemy heavy corps. All right, we need to attack. This is a major problem. Just to finish the thought, though, as I kill some of I try to concentrate fire on their enemy heavy cav here. God, this is a problem. Anytime the enemy's sort of balled up like they were, and you can get a flank, you can turn a flank on the enemy, take advantage of it. The big key is speed and timing. You got to be able to get your troops moved in quickly, because otherwise the enemy will simply move their troops. Now, this is just a scrum. This battle is... There's no tactics at this stage. The tactics at this stage is kill everything. Right? These guys are all on F1, F3, attack everything. But again, that flanking maneuver that we pulled off a few minutes ago, that's the kind of thing, those are huge tactical wins in a battle like this. I'm going to reset and pull over this ridge again. And in this battle, we've probably had 4 or 5 major tactical victories. You know, fucking asshole horse archers. I'm getting to the point where my health is very critical. At this stage of the battle, I would say I'm going to keep this episode. What I mean by that, episodes where I'm knocked unconscious, 25 minutes into it, and I either retreat or auto play out the battle. I typically don't make recordings of these, but there's been enough tactical demonstration, and I think this battle is close enough that we might have a chance to win an auto-resolve. You know what I mean by auto-resolve, where there's just the AI running around the end. So we've got archers on the hill over there hammering the enemy, and I have infantry, a very strong wave of infantry here charging uphill. These guys are throwing their javelins. Any enemy that comes over this ridge is fucked. But I don't want these guys going too far, right? Every time you'll see me do this, I keep a short leash on these guys. You'll see me pull them back almost as soon as they get to the top of the ridge. Right? You basically don't want them going over the ridge unless the enemy's all balled up there. If the enemy's all balled up there, you attack, right? Because then it's just a concentrated attack on the enemy. And again, one of the major advantages of this stage of the battle is that we have mostly tier 5 troops, right? I see legionnaires, I see palace guards, I see ferocious troops, and the enemy for sure, okay, the enemy's right here. They have some skirmishing infantry. They're down to tier 5 troops, right? These are exactly, if you don't know Bannerlord troops very well, these are exactly all tier 4 troops, right? Those are all, so they're effectively 1 tier below us on all of their troop lines. And the advantage of that is obvious, right? We have basically better troops. Now, we've earned that advantage. We've earned that advantage by repeatedly whipping their ass with advanced tactics. In a big, long battle like this, that's the key to victory. Right? We're outnumbered 3-1, worse than 3-1, I think. Or maybe not quite 3-1, 8,000 versus 3,000. To win a battle like that, you have to execute advanced tactics. Another little lull in the battle here. Starting to play more defensive. I will get to a stage soon where I'm just on horse commanding from the rear. I'll just have no choice, right? Because if I fall from my horse, oh shit, it's a long fall. Fuck. That sucks. I took a bunch of damage and lost my horse. Obviously, if I fall at this stage of the battle, there's a pretty good chance we're going to lose. You can see the power level bar at the top there. It's basically saying at this stage we're going to lose this battle. Now, it's not always accurate in very long battles because it doesn't account for reinforcements. I don't actually know how many reinforcements I have at this stage of the battle. For people who don't know, I don't typically bring up, I don't hit the tab button to bring up, you know, sort of the war status screen. That's the screen that shows you how many troops you have left, how many troops the enemy has left. Actually, it doesn't show you how many you have left, but it shows you how many troops have died on both sides, etc. I'm not going to bring that up, and that's because to me, it ruins all the suspense. If I knew I had 300 troops left and the enemy has 4,000, you know, I'd be like suicidal. I'd know this battle is over. We can't win. Similarly, I'm going to just skirmish here with these horse archers. Similarly, I don't want to know that the enemy has 300 troops left and we have 2,000 because that, again, it ruins all suspense. So for the viewer and for myself, I like not knowing whether or not this battle... Oh, there's a big thing of javelins there? Yes, please. I like not knowing whether or not this battle is going to be successful or not. I like the suspense, and I hope that the viewer enjoys that aspect of it as well. My campaign is a death match. We're not playing it on Iron Man mode or whatever the fuck that setting is. But this is probably about as hard a way to play a campaign, a long campaign, as you can. I rarely save scum. I never even heard of that term until like a year ago. But I don't reload games very often unless there's some catastrophic or good reason to do so. Reasons I might do so include like bugs where guys get stuck, or every once in a while I'll fight a battle where the AI just does the most horrific shit and puts my reinforcements in like completely unrealistic, untenable situations. Those battles I'll reload. A few times I've reloaded also just because of I had deaths in the family member. This was pretty early on. I had deaths of family member. It was like I just got married, and the very first battle she was killed. It just didn't seem. I didn't like it, you know, basically. But like 95% of our battles, we just fight them through, and if we lose, we lose, and if we win, we win. Right? People are surprised. I show losses on the channel. You know, this is not some fairy tale. We're fighting the whole map here. And if we lose, we lose. That's just how it's going to be. Enemies retreating here, so again, we're going to fly in. Even with our limited health, I can behead some of these fucks. I gotta be careful. They're still shooting 1,000 arrows at me. Man, this horse is doing major charge damage. So anyway, so this battle, it's hard to know how it's going at this stage. I don't know. I have a feel for most battles, how it's going. I would say we're winning, but I really have no idea. I mean, I see the screen is full of green. We're executing tactics. I've got archers down here very safe at this stage. It feels very good, but you just never know. It's 8,000 troops, right? Like, this is one of the biggest battles I've ever faced. You know, I have a lot of experience with battles of 3,000 troops, but 8,000 is just a whole different animal. The enemy still has elite troops. These are Imperial Heavy Horsemen. That's tier 4. So this battle literally could have another half hour still. But again, tactically, we continue to win each exchange. It's like a chess match. They take a pawn, we take a rook. Like, we're consistently winning the exchanges here. I am worried that late in this battle, I'll end up with very low level troops. If you don't remember, I just remembered myself. About 600 or 700 of the troops in our army, looks like they're resetting a long ways away. About 600 or 700 troops in our army are the garrison and militia. So it's like Sturgian recruits and, you know, the weakest of the weak, including militia, which is the, you know, apart from like looters, is about the lowest level troop you can have. So I am worried if when it gets to that stage, that the enemy will still have strong troops, you know, thousands of troops, and I'll be reduced to militia. At that stage, we'll be fucked. I'm going to change the mouse setting here. I don't know if I'm over caffeinated or what, but my mouse kind of is jiggering all over the place. I'm not quite sure. I'm just adjusting this. Bear with me.
You're all going to die down here.
That's a little ominous because we're the ones that are down here. I don't know if that if that song intro is talking about us or them. They have 600 archers. It's really unbalanced. They have 120 infantry and cav and a massive amount of archers. Now here's an instance where a human AI, not an AI, but a human strategist would annihilate us. If I was this opposing side here, I would split my archers into 3 or 4 corps, and I would just simply surround us, right? Like troops on the battlefield. I would just send them way around to the flanks safely, and then slowly close in on the enemy, shooting, and you would just obliterate our force, right? We would have no chance. Obviously, if Bannerlord ever goes multiplayer, so to speak, where you can fight either in a campaign against somebody else or even custom battles, 500 against 500, a lot of the strategies that we're using here are not going to be relevant. A lot of them still will be, right? Whether it's turning flanks, using false gaps, the kill box, a lot of these strategies still will be useful. But this strategy in particular, where we're just sort of hiding underneath the mountain, waiting for the enemy to expose themselves, so we can make concentrated attacks. That's not going to happen with a human opponent. They're coming. I see their numbers closing, so they want another round here. Again, if they had 700 infantry, it would be a problem because they would just barrel over that hill, foaming at the mouth, and their 700 infantry would overwhelm us. But they have archers. It's also part of the reason they're probably being hesitant. I have no choice but to be hesitant. I can hardly charge our 150 guys over that ridge and just get annihilated. I mean, look how many archers it is. Holy shit. I mean, you can see what would happen to our troops, right? They're all dead, smoked in a second, until we wait. Fuck. I am at a very difficult point in this battle. Are these guys shooting? These motherfuckers are shooting. Alright, so I must have troops. That might be why they're not attacking. I must have troops. Okay, they're hitting our archers. So let's ball our archers up and get these guys crunched in here with the infantry. They're not attacking for a good reason. They can shoot right now. Oh shit, I sounded the wrong way. Let's get these archers jammed up in here. They don't need to charge. They can shoot at our guys. So what we're trying to do here is basically form our guys into a tight bunch at the bottom of this hill so they all have cover, just like the earlier situation. And we're probably just going to have a death charge suicide attack here. I can send my infantry up on this line. In fact, since they have their archers up there, it does make sense to do that. We'll send our infantry up first and archers in tow behind them. Obviously, at this stage, I would love to have half a health bar and just wade into battle with my troops. But at this stage, oh shit. Ugh. Almost dead, just running around my horse. I'm just forced to send these guys in. Not a lot of tactics here other than leading with the infantry and archers behind them. Again, it's the same concept as earlier. In this way, I'm going to have, and they're doing a good job, I'm going to have high-level infantry plowing the road, and then the archers behind them sort of supporting them. They're actually doing really well. The enemy has so many archers, these fuck archers. Kill some of these fucks. That even outnumbered 4-1, they're doing really well. So I have archers coming in now. I can spread these guys out on the far ridge here. The enemy's trying to spread their archers out again, but they're doing it the wrong way. They're now spreading them out right in the face of our archers here. So I've got this large, fresh reinforcement wave of archers. We can just rake them with fucking broadfire. It's a screen of green.
Archers! Forward! Stand apart!
I don't know what else I can do tactically at this stage. The infantry's on a suicide attack. They're fighting, you know, 500 archers. I've got the other archers that are out of ammunition are charging. There's only 5 of those archers left. We're getting kills though, right? It's a screen of green. God, it's tempting just to run in here and do some damage. In fact, these guys are reforming. That's exactly what we're going to do here. It's risky, but I can still cut some of these fucks down. It would be nice if somebody made a mod where retreating archers like this, like every 4th guy turned and just held static shooting. That would be more like a realistic military retreat. In very large forces in the late modern era, I think 1600s, it was very common for... Shit, I gotta be careful here. It's very common for armies to have what was called a rear guard. And that it's exactly what it sounds like. Basically, if you were sort of fleeing from an opponent, if you were trying to get to a location and your opponent was chasing you, that rear guard's job was to protect your main army force. Not sacrificially so much as just sort of skirmishing with the enemy, trying to prevent them from steamrolling your main force, right? So they would have skirmishers, they would have snipers in the later era. They would have guys who were very qualified, very skilled at sort of fighting in a retreating manner, right? Sort of falling back and fighting at the same time. The AI does a pretty abysmal job of it. Infantry do a decent job, you know, they'll swing their weapons at you, but archers more or less are just dead meat. That is a lot of enemy coming at us. 600 and something troops again.
Hold arrows!
Yeah, I don't need him firing 80 arrows at one fucking moment. And that guy got a shot off on me. I am down to a sliver. I've got to watch every hill now. I could fall off a hill and get killed at this stage. Very ignominious at this stage.
Make a shield wall! Mount movement! Give them horse attack!
These archers can be told to fire. There's a big cav division coming down. I can skirmish a little bit in here. I got to be very careful. You can get killed by enemy cav unit very easily. I just took another hit. It's only going to take like somebody blowing on me at this stage and I'm going to be dropped. Got a big infantry corps in there. God, that's a big wave too of infantry. That's going to be a powerful slug to charge against the enemy. And at this stage again, look at the death spam. Wildling, Sturgeon Heroic Linebreaker. We're still on our tier 5 units. They're down to you know, just looking at the death spam, it's like tier 3, tier 4 units. So archers are in the valley shooting the fuck out of the enemy, and again, our infantry is just charging uphill. Even though that's a disadvantage, our units are stronger, and they're packed into a bunch. What the fuck is this? Archers. I've got reinforcements coming in on the flank of the enemy. It's really strange positioning, but we'll take advantage of it. We're outnumbered over here. All right, let's use these guys in a shield wall. I see a lot of crossbowmen here. I'll move these guys up in a shield wall and attack these guys. We're outnumbered, but we may be able to sandwich the enemy between these 2 different attacks. God, the enemy has so many troops. All right, so these guys are approaching a shield wall. Now I can have them attack. I'd love to be able just to charge in here, but you know how it goes. Like I'm one shot away from being out of this battle. I hope we've done enough at this stage that the AI, if and when I'm dropped, helps us win. I can't get that. I got caught up there on that cav unit. I didn't see that guy, and that was curtains for that. Oh shit, that was a... I still had one of the 8th Corps left. That's amazing. That I still had a companion alive. Alright, let's see how this plays out here. It's a bit chaotic. The enemy's like all over the place, and our reinforcements are getting put in chaotic places. But I think we've put on such an ass whipping in the early stages of this that we're going to be able to win this battle now. Legionnaire. So they still have some good troops. I still see crossbowmen, a veteran archer. They still have some tier 4 units, but we are still the highest level troops, right? Legionnaire, Palatine Guard. I would say half of our army, you know, between the, I don't know, it's like 8 or 9 armies that are in our overall army group. Probably half of our army is tier 5. And so that's a huge advantage at this stage. You can see from the death spam as they send in some light cav here. all of those tactical wins of the earlier battle is now paying off. And even though it's the AI just sort of blundering about F1, F3, you can see the screen is mostly green, right? We have higher level troops. We'll see. Here comes a big enemy reinforcement wave. I'm tempted to speed this up, but to do so, I'd have to hit the tab button. I think I'll... Yeah. It's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I know the average watcher doesn't want to watch this kind of a fight for a half hour. We'll just kind of see how it occurs. There's no strategy, of course, at this stage, obviously. It's just let these troops blunder about. Hopefully, though, in this episode, there was plenty of tactics for you. I think, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 significant, different sort of battles all in one battle here. Let's see what we got here. 30, 49. They're down to 49. They're down 4,900, and we've lost 1,000. Right. So think about that. We've had a 5-to-1 kill ratio, even though we're outnumbered 3-to-1. That's really good. And if I remember right, we had like 3,000 troops. That means we still have 2,000, and they are down to 3,000. But again, you can see how badly outnumbered we are. It's 500 versus 142. At least until we get reinforcements, like we're significantly outnumbered. I'm going to fast forward this. Victory. That means they fled. Oh shit. Well, I did not expect that. That was obviously... It looked like we were going to win anyways, but we put on such a bad ass whipping on them that they fled the field. 3,000 troops basically said, we've had enough. And they're fleeing. My troops here... I wish I could be standing amongst them to fucking hold my axe in the air, but we'll do it symbolically. That was another titanic campaign-saving battle right there, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Who's this? Oh, I thought that was a companion. Hopefully you enjoyed another titanic battle here again on Tactical Enlightenment. Our campaign is coming towards what looks to be the end. At this stage, you know, I'm down to two cities and 3 castles, but we're going to fight on. Whether that's the bitter end or a turning point in our campaign, that's how we're going to do this. So, anyways, if you're interested in more from the campaign, please subscribe. Please leave comments. You know, if you're curious about something I did and want to learn more about it, let me know. I'm very receptive. You can leave criticism, all that stuff. It's just fine, fellas. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.